Have you ever woken up, stared at a blank ceiling, and realized that everything is gone? I am not talking about the small losses. I am talking about that defining, earth-shattering moment when life pulls the rug out from under your feet. When the friends who swore they would never leave suddenly vanish into the fog. When the money you traded your youth and health to accumulate dissolves like smoke. When the titles, the status, and the shiny things you used to define your identity are stripped away. You stand there, exposed, alone, surrounded by the ruins of what you used to call your life. The world looks at you with pity. They whisper that you are finished. They call this rock bottom. But let me tell you a secret known only to those who have walked through the fire. This is not the end. This is the purification. This is the moment God clears the room. Not because he is cruel, not because he is punishing you, but because he is calling you higher, to a place so high that the artificial wings of money and popularity cannot carry you. See, we lie to ourselves. We say, I trust in God, but we really trust in our bank accounts. We say, God is my rock, but we lean on our connections, our cleverness, our plan B. As long as you have another option, you will keep leaning on it. As long as you have a safety net woven by human hands, you will never learn to walk on water. As long as your phone is buzzing with the applause of men, you will never hear the whisper of the Almighty. And so, sometimes in his severe mercy, God has to slam every door shut. He cuts the lights. He silences the crowd. He brings you into a terrifying stillness so that you are forced to face the naked truth. If God is all you have left, you are about to discover that God is all you need. Isolation is not a punishment. It is a classroom. It is the training ground where the greatest warriors of history were forged. If you look back at the timeline of faith, you will see a pattern. Before God reveals someone to the world, he hides them in the wilderness. Look at Job. No one fell harder than him. In the morning, he was the greatest man in the East, respected, wealthy, surrounded by family. By sunset, he was bankrupt. His children were gone, his body was broken, and the deepest cut, the betrayal of people. His friends came to comfort him, but stayed to accuse him. Even his wife, the one person who should have held his hand in the dark, looked at him with contempt and said, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." Job lost everything. He sat in the ashes, scraping his wounds. But right there, in the absolute zero of his life, Job discovered a faith that could not be bought. He didn't sing when he was in the palace. He sang when he was in the pit. He declared, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." When Job had no one left to impress, no one left to rely on, he finally met God. Not the God of blessings, but the God who is the blessing. Look at David. Before he wore the golden crown, he had to bear the crushing weight of loneliness. He was the anointed king, yet he lived like a hunted animal. No palace, no army, no feasts. Just him and the cold, damp caves. Where were his parents? He wrote, "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." That wasn't written in a comfortable study. That was written in tears, in the long, lonely nights when the only sound was the wind howling through the rocks and the beating of his own anxious heart. But that cave was his university. God hid David away. He separated him from the noise to teach him how to wield the sword of the Spirit before he could wield the scepter of the nation. In the cave, David learned that safety doesn't come from high walls. It comes from the shadow of the Almighty. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his own blood, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, forgotten in a dungeon. Joseph had every right to be bitter. He was entirely alone in a foreign land, no one to defend him, no one to plead his case. But Joseph turned that prison into a sanctuary. He worked as if he were serving God right there in the chains. The isolation didn't kill his dream. It refined it. If Joseph had stayed comfortable in his father's house, he would have remained a spoiled boy in a colorful coat. But through the brutality of isolation, he became the ruler who saved the world. He realized that the pit was not a grave. It was a stepping stone to the palace. Look at Paul, a man of intellect and power, ending up in a dark Roman dungeon. Freedom gone, reputation gone, friends drifting away. But listen to what he wrote from that cell. He didn't complain. He declared, "I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord." When the walls closed in, his spirit broke out. When he had nothing left to hold on to, Paul realized that Christ wasn't just a part of his life. He was his life. He learned the secret of contentment. To have God is to have enough. Even with an empty stomach, even with a scarred back, he was richer than Caesar, because he possessed a treasure no thief could touch. So, what happens to you when you are backed into a corner and it's just you and God? 3 massive shifts take place in your soul. First, loneliness turns into intimacy. You used to be afraid of silence. You filled it with noise, with entertainment, with people. But when God strips it all away, loneliness transforms. It stops being the place of abandonment and becomes the Holy of Holies. Even Jesus needed this. Before the cross, before the miracles, he withdrew to lonely places. Why? Because when the world gets quiet, the Father's voice gets loud. Your silence is not empty. It is sacred ground. It is where you stop performing and start worshiping. Second, weakness turns into power. We misunderstand strength. We think strength is independence. We are wrong. True power is divine dependence. Moses learned this in the desert. No supermarkets, no water supply. But when he looked up, bread rained from heaven. When he struck the rock, water gushed out. The message was clear. Provision doesn't come from your hustle. It comes from his hand. When you have no one left to lean on, you finally learn to lean on the one who never stumbles. Third, destruction turns into refining. Fire does 2 things. It consumes the trash, but it purifies the gold. When God puts you in the furnace of affliction, he isn't burning you. He is burning the ropes that bind you. He is burning away the pride. He is burning away the fear. He is burning away the false idols. You don't come out of the fire broken. You come out brighter. You come out sharper. You come out ready. So listen to me closely. If you feel like the world has turned its back on you today, if the applause has died down and the silence is deafening, do not panic. Do not call this the end. Call it the beginning. God is clearing the construction site. He is tearing down the temporary props to build a foundation that will last for eternity. He is ripping up the rough drafts to write a masterpiece with your life. He hasn't left you. He has drawn you closer than ever. He is whispering to you right now, I am enough. I am all you have, and I am all you will ever need. Don't run from the silence. Embrace it, because in that isolation you will find yourself, and more importantly, you will find him. If you have lost everything, but you still have God, you haven't lost a thing. You have gained everything that matters. Your story isn't over. It has only just begun.